In this Explore Explain cycle, we will be explaining the accuracy of weather prediction. That means how accurate is weather prediction? Is it very accurate, a little bit accurate, or not so accurate? Weather prediction. Have you ever seen a weather forecast online or in a newspaper? A weather forecast is a prediction about the state of the atmosphere at a given place and time. Weather forecasts are commonly provided using maps and weather charts. They can include predictions about temperature, wind, precipitation, cloud cover, and humidity. Have you ever used a weather forecast to make plans or decide what to wear? Weather forecasts not only help people plan their day, but they also provide warnings about severe weather, such as blizzards and hurricanes. Pilots also rely on forecasts to navigate the planes we fly in. Who else might use weather forecasts? The following weather chart shows past and current temperatures. Try to predict the temperature for Friday. If you take a look at the chart, Monday's weather is 5 degrees Fahrenheit, Tuesday is 0 degrees Fahrenheit, Wednesday is 1 degrees Fahrenheit, Thursday, which is today, is negative 2 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're asking what is Friday's temperature in Fahrenheit. Once you have your prediction, think about the following question. What did you base your prediction on? And what other data might you want to use if you were asked to predict the weather? So what other data would you use, or what other data would you need besides for this chart, which shows you the past temperatures? Next, think about if your prediction would be within a degree of the actual temperature. Within 3 degrees, within 5 degrees? Explain your answer. And the idea behind these questions is to think about how you might approach predicting weather. You don't have to be able to predict the weather at this stage. We're learning about that. But you want to start thinking about how you would and what information might you need to know in order to do that. The next section is about data used in weather prediction. To make a weather forecast, past and current weather conditions are considered. This includes things such as wind speed, air pressure, humidity, cloud cover, precipitation, and temperature. Also taken into account are the current locations and movements of air masses, fronts, and high and low pressure systems. The following chart is a weather forecast for Truckee, California. Explore this chart showing the predicted weather for Truckee, California. Pause the video and explore the chart. Pay attention to the temperature, the weather, whether it's cloudy, sunny, or snowy, the chance of precipitation, which means the chance of rain, the wind speeds, the wind direction, and the humidity. The humidity is a measure of moisture in the air. Next, we're going to talk about weather forecast models. Past and current weather data are used to build weather forecast models. Weather forecast models are based on the physical laws that determine how the atmosphere works. They are mathematical models that contain many related equations. The equations represent the atmosphere and its interactions in the Earth system. Because so many factors influence weather, forecast models are very complex. For example, ocean currents affect humidity in some locations, and humidity impacts precipitation and cloud cover. In the early 1900s, the first weather forecast model was used. It took so long to do the calculations by hand that by the time the forecast was ready, the weather had already happened. By the 1950s, computers could do these calculations more quickly. Today, supercomputers do them even faster. 5-day forecasts can be made with about the same level of certainty as a 2-day forecast could 30 years ago. This is due to the continual improvement of weather forecast models and the increased speed of supercomputers. Meteorologists and forecasters analyze weather forecast model results before the results are shared with the public. Take a moment and record some evidence in your evidence notebook or jot a few sentences down in your book. How do forecasters use mathematical models to make predictions about future weather conditions? Record your evidence. And your evidence will be from the reading that we just did. Now that we talked about some mathematical models and weather forecast models, we're going to take a look at some limitations of those models. The next section is about limitations of weather forecast models. All weather predictions contain some degree of uncertainty. That is, they rarely turn out to be 100% accurate. Weather is a complex phenomenon that is affected by many factors. One small change in a factor, such as wind direction, can affect many other factors and result in different weather conditions. Because it is hard to predict the exact timing or location of future weather events, weather forecasts involve probabilities and percentages. For example, you may see a forecast that describes the probability of rain occurring for a specific area and time. This probability is often given as a percentage. So think about any weather predictions or weather forecasts that you might have heard on the radio or on TV. And usually they say there's a certain percentage of rain, right? They never say it's for sure going to rain. Sometimes they might say a 100% chance of rain, but usually it's less. It might be sometimes 20% chance of rain, or 30% chance of rain, or maybe 80% chance of rain, but they're usually going to give a percentage. Next, we're going to take a look at two charts. One is the weather forecast, and the other is the observed or actual weather. Compare the weather forecast to the actual weather observations made over the period of November 25th to November 27th. So here is the weather forecast for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So pause the video and take a look at this chart. This is the weather forecast. And then the next chart, this is the observed or actual weather. So pause the video and take a look at the observed weather, which is the actual weather. For this question, you're going to compare the weather predictions in the forecast chart to the observed or actual weather in Truckee. If the forecast chart did not predict exactly what happened with the weather, explain why the forecast is still useful. Pause the video and try the question out. Compare the weather predictions in the forecast chart to the observed or actual weather. Weather forecast models are constantly being improved. Predictions are compared to what actually happens with the weather. For example, if a forecast predicted the temperature on Friday, the observed temperature on Friday is compared to the prediction. This comparison process would be followed for many days. If the predictions mostly match the recorded temperatures, then the model is a good predictor of temperature. If the model often predicts that it will be warmer or cooler than it actually is, then adjustments are made to improve the model. This process repeats as models are constantly improved to make predictions more likely to be accurate. Models are also improved in order to make predictions further into the future. Write down a few sentences to record in your evidence notebook. Why do weather forecast models have limitations? Why are they still useful to people? Record your evidence. This diagram is a 2-day weather forecast model. These weather forecast maps were produced on a Wednesday. The maps show data resulting from a computer model that predicts the movement of fronts, pressure systems, and precipitation. The model also predicts how heavy the precipitation will be. This weather forecast map shows Thursday, November 26th. If you take a look at the forecast map, the cold front is predicted to reach Amarillo on this day. Light precipitation is forecast. So this is Thursday, November 26th. And this is a forecast map for Friday, November 27th. Today, the cold front is predicted to have moved over Amarillo by this day. Heavier precipitation is forecast. Interpret the weather forecast maps to complete the descriptions. These maps show the blank weather. These maps show the past, predicted, or current. There is a blank front moving toward Texas. Cold, warm, or stationary. This front is a boundary where a cold air mass is moving beneath a warm air mass and causing the warm air to rise. From Thursday to Friday, you can see that precipitation along the front increases, decreases, or stays the same. Well done. The maps were made on a Wednesday to show the weather predictions for Thursday and Friday. The map key shows the blue line with triangles is a cold front. Because the triangles are pointing toward Amarillo, the cold front is moving in that direction. You can also use the map key to see that precipitation increases from Thursday to Friday. Next, you're going to analyze the maps with a partner and act as meteorologists who are planning to deliver a weather forecast for Amarillo, Texas on Wednesday night. Explain how Amarillo's weather will change on Thursday and Friday. So look at the forecast maps in your book and explain how Amarillo's weather will change on Thursday and Friday. Next, fill in the blank. The accuracy of the model's results decrease with time into the future. Therefore, the forecast results for Thursday are likely to be more or less accurate than they will be for Friday. The model shows the blank of precipitation, type, amount, or rate. The model shows the amount of precipitation with different colors, but the model does not give an exact quantity. Well done. Because Friday is 2 days away and accuracy decreases over time, the map for Friday will be less accurate than the map for Thursday. The map key shows the amount of precipitation from light to heavy precipitation. Next, we're going to analyze weather forecasts. Different models are used to predict weather for different ranges of time. Short-range weather forecasts make predictions for 0 to 3 days into the future. Medium-range weather forecasts make predictions for 3 to 7 days into the future. Long-range weather forecasts, or outlooks, range from weeks to months into the future. In general, short-range forecasts are more likely to be accurate than forecasts made for longer periods of time. Given the continuous changes that occur in all of the factors that influence the weather, even short-range forecast results are not always accurate. This 24-hour forecast map shows a 24-hour probability of precipitation. This map shows how likely precipitation is over the next 24 hours. Notice that the map does not specify the amount or type of precipitation. The next question asks you to cite evidence from the text and use this map to explain how this forecast could be useful. How confident do you think the meteorologist using this map is that this forecast will be accurate? Based on this map, what travel advice would you give to someone planning to visit the beach in Oregon tomorrow?